بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. The next part is قد أبصر طريقه وسلك سبيله وعرف مناره وقطع غماره واستمسك من العرى بأوثقها ومن الحبال بأمتنها فهو من اليقين على مثل ضوء الشمس. Amir al-Mu'minin says, he is the one that knows his way. قد أبصر طريقه, knows what direction he should take and follow. To the extent that is like seeing. He is clearly and vividly understanding what should he do or she should do, what direction they should take. أبصر طريقه. He is no longer blind by حب الدنيا. We said خرج به من صفة العمى. We said that there is light inside him. So he can see the path. أبصر طريقه. This type of knowledge which comes with enlightenment of the heart is something that certainly would lead to action. وَسَلَكَ سَبِيلَهُ, and has embarked on his path. There's a discussion in philosophy whether knowledge is enough or not. Some people had the idea that in Greek, philosophy, some people had the idea that the main problem is ignorance. Socrates had this idea that if you know, you do good things. The problem is ignorance. Aristotle had the idea that sometimes people know and still do bad things. So the only problem is not ignorance. But then there is a middle position which says it depends on what kind of knowledge you are talking about. If knowledge is more theoretical, more conceptual, people may act against their knowledge. For example, they know something is harmful, still they eat it. They know something is harmful, still they do it. They know and they do it. But if knowledge is a matter of tuition, if it is clear and if it is certain, you cannot act against it. This is a middle position between the idea of Aristotle and Socrates. Here we are talking about a kind of knowledge which comes with light. The heart is enlightened. This would certainly lead to action. قد أبصر طريقه وسلك سبيله. Before also we said سلك سبيلا جددا. He has taken the path which is clear and firm, straight. Here also says أبصر طريقه وسلك سبيله. He knows and he acts upon his knowledge. وعرف مناره. He knows manar. Manar means the place of nur or the place of light. Manar can be both for nur, can be for light. Sometimes it's both together. Minaret. So this was common that in the past they used to keep some fire also in minarets so that people from distance, when they traveling in dark night, they can see the masjid is here, city is here. They can, have some, stay there. So every path needs some manar, some minarets, in the sense that some places, some stations, some stops from where light is coming. And then you keep going one after the other and connect these lines with each other. So he is someone, or these people are those that they know manar of this tariq. They know where stations are, where light is coming, and they don't act blindly and in complete darkness. وَقَطَعَ غِمَارَهُ. غِمار is the plural form for ghamr, means excessive water. When, for example, the seabed is very deep, then water becomes too much, and sometimes there are waves. But for someone who has yaqeen, who has determination, he can pass these things, he can cross these things. قَطَعَ غِمَارَهُ. So عرف مناره, manar of tariq, وقطع غمار الطريق. So even if there are waves of water, he's not stopped. Then Quran talks about hablullah. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا. Also Quran says that فَمَنْ يُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ وَيَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى. Urwa, any hand hold, something you take by your hand. Wuthqa means most firmest. So to be under Allah's wilaya and go away from wilaya of Taghut means that you are holding on the strongest and the firmest handle or handhold of the faith. Here Amir al-Mu'minin says that this person has held the firmest hand or handle of the whole world, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and religion. وَمِنَ الْحِبَالِ حَبْلِ. From the ropes he has held the amtanaha, the strongest and firmest. So not only he himself internally is strong, not only on top of that strength in character, he is equipped with basira and he sees the truth, he sees the path, he benefits from manar, but also he is holding up to the firmest rope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَهُوَ مِنَ الْيَقِينِ عَلَى مِثْلِ ضَوْءِ الشَّمْسِ. So with respect to certainty, he sees things as the light of the sun is shining upon them. As middle of the day, when you see things, how clear they are. For him, nothing is ambiguous, nothing is darkness. He can see, he can have yaqeen. Something that we discuss in the series about Quran is that Quran is that habl mateen. In some versions of Hadith al-Thaqalain, we have this idea that Quran is hablun mamdudun min as-sama'i ila al-ardh. For example, there is a version in Musnad of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, because Hadith al-Thaqalain is reported by Shia and Sunni, in which it says that Rasulullah said, I am leaving among you two precious things, two heavy things. One is bigger than the other or greater than the other. One is the book of Allah, which is hablun mamdudun min as-sama'i ila al-ard. It's a rope which is extended from the heaven to the earth. And we have explained in lessons on knowing the Quran that when Allah sends down a rope to save us and rescue us, He would not drop the rope. If He was dropping the rope with both sides, we were not able to hold and rise. But Allah is sending one side and holding on the other side of the rope. So it is mamdudun. It is extended from heaven to the earth. And our job is to grasp it and hold on to it and rise. And Hadith says on the Day of Judgment, people who go to heaven, they will be said, Iqra warqa, or Iqra was'ad. Read the Quran and rise. So we can rise towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also, we have another part of Thaqalain, and that is the Hujjah of Allah. The Hujjah of Allah is also rope. If we hold on to both Quran and Hujjah or Ahlul Bayt in general, we don't go astray. Ma in tamassaktum bihima lan tadhillu. As long as you hold on to both of them, you will not go astray. The difference is that the Hujjah of Allah is a human being who is connected to a sky. Quran is from top coming to us. As Quran says, إِنَّهُ فِي أُمِّ الْكِتَابِ لَدَيْنَا لَعَلِيٌّ حَكِيمٌ. Quran is coming from Lawh Mahfuz to us. Imam Zaman is among us and connecting us to the heaven. Therefore, in Dua Nutbeh, we say, أَيْنَ السَّبَبُ الْمُتَّصِلُ بَيْنَ الْأَرْضِ وَالسَّمَاءِ. Where is the link that connects the earth to the heaven? Not the heaven to the earth. Quran is from the heaven for the earth, and the Hujjah of Allah is from the earth to connect to heaven. So this habl is very important. Yaqeen is also very important. If we have yaqeen and certainty, we would not do many bad things and we would not miss many opportunities. If you have yaqeen about your death, about your destiny, about the results of actions, then you will be protected. But yaqeen can come and continue to exist through ibadah. وَاعْبُدْ رَبَّكَ حَتَّى يَأْتِيَكَ الْيَقِينُ. You have to have knowledge, you have to study, you have to learn. But if you don't practice and don't worship, you can always have doubts. You say, okay, the argument says this, but I'm not sure. Maybe something is missing. Maybe someone comes and says, I have an argument against your argument. Yaqeen needs ibadah. وَاعْبُدْ رَبَّكَ حَتَّى يَأْتِيَكَ الْيَقِينُ. Then Amirul Mu'minin says, قَدْ نَصَبَ نَفْسَهُ لِلَّهِ فِي أَرْفَعِ الْأُمُورِ. Very beautiful. قَدْ نَصَبَ نَفْسَهُ لِلَّهِ فِي أَرْفَعِ الْأُمُورِ من إصدار كل وارد عليه وتسيير كل فرع إلى أصله. He has put nasaba. He has put himself for the sake of Allah in the highest of affairs. So he had made himself available for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as an instrument that Allah can use. How? من إصدار كل وارد عليه. Everything that comes to him, he tries to deal with it according to the will of God. Every secondary thing that comes, every derivative thing, every farah that comes, he tries to refer to the principles. And the principles come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is misbahu dhulumat. In darknesses, he is the lantern. Not only he knows what to do, he gives light to other people. Misbahu dhulumat. We had misbah also before. Kashafu ghashawat. He is the one that opens and clears and removes any ambiguities. Miftahu mubhamat. Also when there are confusions and ambiguities, he is the key. He can open the blockage. He can make things clear. Dafa'u mu'dhilat. He's the one who defends against mu'dhilat. Mu'dhilat means those difficult things that are very difficult to deal with, very difficult to solve. Mu'dhil. And he can do difa'. Even it doesn't say dafi' or muzilla, it says dafa'. This is sighiya mubalaghah. He is very much protecting and defending against mu'dhilat. Dalilu falawat. He is the guide in deserts, on the plain lands. Yaqulu fayufhim. He is such an eloquent speaker, such a wise and masterful speaker. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Sheikh. There was a short...
Now it's okay?
Just a short break.
Is it okay now?
Yes.
Okay. So, he is the one who opens, clears those things that cause lack of power for vision. Miftahu mubhamat. He's the key for ambiguous things. Dalilu falawat. We reached here, it was disconnected. Yaqulu fayufhim wa yaskutu fayaslam. When he speaks, he makes people understand. There are people that when they speak, you don't understand anything. There are people that when they speak, they confuse you. Even the thing that you used to understand, you don't understand anymore. So either they don't help or even they make things worse. But such people who have light, who have basira, who have yaqeen, and who have control over their shahawat, these are the people that if they speak, they make people understand. Yaqulu fayufhim, he makes them understand. Wa yaskut, if he is silent, fayaslam, he will be safe. He is so strong that even if he is silent, no one finds anything against him, no one can refute him. He remains safe. قَدْ أَخْلَصَ لِلَّهِ فَاسْتَخْلَصَهُ. He has tried to purify his actions, his intentions, his entire self. Ikhlas has different levels. Sometimes you purify your actions. Sometimes you purify your whole intentions. Sometimes you purify yourself. You say, I'm only a servant of Allah. فَاسْتَخْلَصَهُ. Then Allah has completed this purification. He has made himself solely and only for Allah, and Allah has made him also pure. فَهُوَ مِنْ مَعَادِنِ دِينِهِ وَأَوْتَادِ أَرْضِهِ. In the same way that we said in the past that he becomes mafatih for abwabul huda, he becomes keys for the gates of guidance. Here also we say he is one of the sources for religion of Allah. Very helpful for people, a great asset for the faith, for the community. And he is one of awtad. Awtad is the plural form for watad, means nail. Awtad are the people who are at very high level of iman, and their presence brings safety, a stability. They are in the same way that Allah says, al-jabala awtada, he made mountains nails. Now science tells us, in the past they didn't know, that presence of mountains is very important to prevent from big earthquakes. They keep earth together. So these are the people that they are awtadu ardihi. They are nails in the planet that belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قَدْ أَلْزَمَ نَفْسَهُ الْعَادْلِ. Before anyone comes and force him to observe justice, or before even Allah forces him to do justice to others, etc., he has made it necessary for himself. He has committed to justice with his inner motivation. أَلْزَمَ نَفْسَهُ الْعَادْلِ. And this is very important for those who want to help Imam Mahdi Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. If you want to be part of a movement that wants to spread justice, social justice, equity all over the world, you need to first make sure that you yourself are committed to justice in all fronts. Everywhere that justice can be an issue, we have to commit ourselves to justice. فَكَانَ أَوَّلَ عَدْلِهِ نَفْيُ الْهَوَى النَّفْسَ. The very first thing that you have to do for justice is not to go by your lower desires, by your whims, because this makes your nafs blind and not able to observe justice. يَصِفُ الْحَقَّ وَيَعْمَلُ بِهِ. If there are people who describe haqq, the truth, but they act differently, he is different. He's not like them. He describes the truth and he acts upon the truth. It's not that he gives lectures and preaches about truth and say, this is for people. I do whatever I like. No. يَصِفُ الْحَقَّ وَيَعْمَلُ بِهِ. He describes the truth and acts upon the truth. لَا يَدَعُ لِلْخَيْرِ غَايَةً إِلَّا أَمَّهَا. He would not let any end for goodness unless he himself wants to achieve it. أَمَّا يَأُمُّ means قَصَدَ يَقْصِدُ. In the Quran we have آمين البيت الحرام with tashdid, not آمين. Amin means astajib. Please accept our dua. We say Amin. But in Quran we have Amin al-Masjid al-Haram, means qasidin. Even Imam, Ma'mum, all come from the same root. Amma ya ummu means qasada. So he does not let any end, any target maybe you can say, for goodness unless he himself intends to achieve it. He doesn't give direction for people and then he does something else. He is trying to be always at the best level of commitment to the goodness, to the truth, to the justice. لا يدع للخير غاية إلا أمها. Even more, ولا مذنة إلا قصدها. مذنة is where you expect something to be there or happening, but you are not sure. For example, it's very common, we say, مَذَانِ استجابت الدعاء. For example, ulama say to each other, for example, now please pray for me. في مَذَانِ استجابت means in the places, in the times that are very likely that your dua would be accepted. Laylatul Jum'ah, for example, I don't know, Laylatul Qadr in a shrine. So wherever you would think it's more likely that your dua would be accepted, please remember us. It's called Madhan. Also in the hadith about knowledge, we have that seek knowledge from its people and fi madhani, in the places which are prepared for giving knowledge. So if he knows of a place or someone or something or a madrasa or a book or whatever, something that is very likely to give you knowledge or khair, he would go after it. He does not wait for something becoming 100%. If there is chance that a place can be useful or something can be useful and there is no reason it should not be like that, you should benefit from it. If you, for example, know that you can, by doing this action, hopefully get pleasure of Allah, do it. Never underestimate any good action, because maybe this is the one that actually, if you do it, Allah will be pleased with you. وَلَا مَذِنَّةً إِلَّا قَصَدَهَا. And then, inshallah, we will talk about Quran. What position they have for the Quran in their lives. How do they treat the Quran? Inshallah, we talk about this in the next session. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.